Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. Okay, we're going to cover what is Islam and the first few pages of the textbook. So basically, where our book starts from is we are first going to try to understand that what are we trying to understand in this chapter. The focus is basically number one, to understand the meaning and the purpose of religion. What is religion and what is the purpose of religion? This is what the text introduces you. Then after understanding what religion is, it's going to connect you to a true introduction to what Islam is as a religion, as Islam defines it. Not what I think, not what somebody else thinks, but what does Islam say about itself, right? This is the basic concept we're going to do. The content that we're going to be examining is going to focus on, number one, the understanding that what Muslims do and what Islam says are two different things. And they may sometimes even oppose or contradict each other. And we need to understand that what Islam is, coming from here, the true introduction to Islam, is the correct version, and what Muslims do or do not do is not the standard. Number two, we'll also understand that the term Islam is something that if it is used out of context, it can cause a lot of confusion, right? And there are three different meanings that the author ascribes to the word Islam, and we will discover that, right? And what is the reason behind understanding the purpose and the meaning of the term religion and then connecting it to what Islam tells us about itself as a religion is that when somebody is equipped with the correct understanding and knowledge, then only can they understand the message of Islam, and they can also decipher that what is true and what knowledge is being misused, right? The first thing that we understood was the word religion is from the English language. And when you analyze the word religion in depth, you understand that it's actually derived from a Latin word. That Latin word is religio. Religio actually means to retie or reconnect. So that means there's an acknowledgement that there's already a connection, and that connection is broken, and then you retie that connection. That is what the word religio means. And what does it mean in the Latin context? That you retie a bond between man and God. So this is the original meaning of the word, linguistically speaking, right? Then the author analyzes some monotheistic religions, right? And these are the examples of the four basic monotheistic religions which have books, right? Isa alayhi salam, Musa alayhi salam, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, Hazrat Dawud alayhi salam, right? These are the prophets who had revelation in the form of books, right, given to them, which were recorded later in the form of books. And an analysis of all of these monotheistic religions shows us one thing, that these four things are common in all of the religions. If you try to pick up some really old scriptures of the Torah or the Bible, I don't think we can find Dawud alayhi salam scriptures, but if some of them are added to what the Torah was, so you can analyze that the basic purpose is these 4 points. All of the religions tell us that La ilaha illallah, belief in one God, that there is no other creator but Allah. All of the monotheistic religions state that. Number two, there's a concept of the afterlife that was given in all of the monotheistic religions. Number three, there's a concept of zikr, remembrance of Allah, that also exists in all of the monotheistic religions. Number four, there's a concept of purification of the soul, the ruh. The soul here is used in terms of the ruh, and the purification of the ruh from the nafs, the ego, right, and evil. So there's a concept of good and bad, which already exists. And the purpose of religion is to help the ruh, the spiritual part of you, fight against the nafs, which is the material part of you. So this struggle also existed in the message of all of the monotheistic religions. Now you understand, after focusing on this message of monotheistic religions, this is what you see that the purpose of religion becomes. Number one, the purpose of religion is assistance. It is to help people. How does it help people morally? By bringing a system which acknowledges social and moral justice and kindness and more patience and more care towards the society and amongst yourselves. And how does it help you spiritually? When you focus on purification of the ruh, of the spirit, against the nafs. It gives you the tools to do that. It gives you the guidance to do that. And then there's a focus upon this life and the next. So religion will help you to improve things in this life, and that improvement will definitely lead to a better tomorrow, a better next life. Now, in order to do that, what religion needs to do is that it then has to specify a complete program for human life. Religion cannot just be spiritual. It cannot just talk about the ruh. It has to talk about the body. It has to talk about the world. It has to talk about family. It has to talk about business. It has to talk about social laws, economic laws. It has to cover everything that makes up human life, right? And it gives you a vision of reality that what is in this world is that is the illusion. And what is to come next, that is the real. So sometimes you would let go of a small thing in this world for a bigger thing in the next. So it kind of sets your perspective and it gives you a bigger vision that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keeps telling you, look at what's coming next. Focus on that. What is in the afterlife? Your focus should be that. And religion should also provide you with a plan of action. It gives you this vision that your focus should be the next life, but it also should give you a plan of action to implement this program. That what are the things that you do and do not do, which will result in a better moral and spiritual you, and therefore will lead to a better moral and spiritual world, right? Now, coming to the next chapter, the connection, that first we understood religion, then we connected religion to monotheistic religions. And from this connection and analyzing the 4 monotheistic religions, we came up to the conclusion of what is the purpose of the religion, combining those objectives. And once you understand the purpose of the religion, now we're going to talk about Islam. What is Islam? Now, there are 3 ways to analyze this. First, like for the word religion, you linguistically analyze something. So if you talk about just the word Islam, right? The word Islam is from which language? The Arabic language. So the first analysis would just be about the word. Which language does it belong to? What meaning does the language give to this word? Okay, so this is the first analysis. Number 2, the second analysis of the word Islam tells us that Islam is a religion. And which religion is this? This is a religion which is defined through the Quran and the Hadith. So through the Quran and the Hadith, we identify what religion is. And that religion is known as Islam. So this is an academic point of view. That if you want to know Islam, go to the Quran and the Hadith. Go to the correct interpretations of the Quran and Hadith. So this is a second introduction to the word Islam. Now, a third way the word Islam is understood is by analyzing different civilizations and cultures that were created by or touched by Islam. So what happens is that over the course of thousands of years or hundreds of years, Islam enters into a region. And that region, for example, if you take Turkey as an example, the region was actually, it was a predominantly Christian region. And through different, to the Ottomans and different, you can say that different political and political movements, right? Islam expanded its boundaries and many other countries and regions were included into the Islamic Empire. So when this happened, there were 2 things that were happening. On one side, there's a huge empire and you are trying to establish a boundary and you're trying to establish control as the government. And the other thing that is happening is that how does Islam reach the people, right? So what happened was that in some countries, in some regions, when Islam started to expand really widely, some civilizations and cultures, though they came under the Islamic Empire, but their culture and civilization did not change. The understanding and knowledge of Islam didn't seep through so deeply. So what happens is that if you analyze their cultures, sometimes there are certain traditions like their marriages, the way they interact socially, the things they do not do, they have a big impact of some other religion like Christianity, or for in the subcontinent, there was an impact of Hinduism on the traditions and cultures that Muslims used to have. So what happens is that the other generations, or for example, the people of Turkey, when Islam came to them, there was a certain understanding of Islam, but at the same time, there was an impact of the Christian civilization and culture. So throughout generations, what happens is that an amalgamation is created. So there is some of Islam and there is some of the old customs and cultures. And the knowledge of Islam, which had to come from here, is scarce. So what happens is that the new generations, they take this interpretation and think that this is Islam. And they don't have the knowledge to understand the difference between here and here. So what Muslims do, whether that is right or wrong, that becomes understood as Islam, right? So this is the three different ways that the word Islam is analyzed.